Adobe Table Tags, Accessibility in Practice, Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Next, let's look at table tags in Adobe. On my screen, I have a table of foods dogs can eat and foods dogs can't eat. It's a two-column table with 6 rows. It actually continues on to the next page, so I think there's 20 rows altogether. And in my accessibility tag tree, I have a table tag. So if I select my table tag, my table should be selected. So now that I've selected my table tag, my table for foods dogs can and can't eat appears. If I open or expand my table tag, I'll see that I have a bunch of TR tags. As I select my TR tags, you'll notice it'll go row by row selecting my data. These are table row tags. That's why they're called TR tags. So just like lists, every table has a set of nested TR tags. It's made up of rows after all, right? All tables are made up of rows. Within our rows, we also have data. Our first row is actually going to be our header row for most of our data cells, right? Because our header row is going to tell us the types of data in the rest of our cells for that column. So instead of a table data cell, I'm actually going to make this a TH cell, and the same with the next one. So the first one, foods dogs can eat, is a header, and the second one in that row, foods dogs can't eat, is also a header. And you'll notice as soon as I update them, they change color as red cells because they are header cells after all, kind of like being kinged in checkers. So in my first row, I have nested under my TR tag 2 headers for table header, foods dogs can eat, and if I expand that header, I'll get a P tag for the text, and under that tag, I'll get the actual text. And then in my second column on that same row, I have another table header, and if I expand that, I'll get a P tag for that text. And if I expand that P tag, I'll get that text, which is food dogs can't eat. That is my first row. Next, I will go through each of my rows to make sure that they match the information that should be inside and that my tags have the appropriate tag structure. Like my first row, I'm going to expand my row tag, and I should have 2 table data cells, one for each column, because I have 2 columns. The first one should be pumpkin, and it is. And the second one should be bacon, and it is. All of my table cells that are not headers should be labeled TD for table data. TD. My first row doesn't have TD cells because those are headers, so they are all TH or table header cells. As I go through all of my rows, I make sure that they are appropriately matching the information that should appear in that row. For instance, in this row, which is the 5th row, pear and milk are appropriately identified as the 2 data cells for each column. However, if pear and bread were identified, that would be wrong because pear is in the 5th column and bread is in the 6th column. So I would want to make sure I moved that to the appropriate column and row. So I'll continue going and making sure all of my headers are correct. Uh-oh, I am now at a row that is actually a repeat of my header row. What do I do? Well, in this case, I could either repeat the fact that they are headers, but In my tag tree, I already have my headers identified. This is just a visual repetition that the headers are here for folks who are visually scrolling between two pages. In this case, I can actually delete the repeated tagged row for my headers because it would repeat this information. And I can't actually have two header rows in a table. It's actually not possible. So I'm going to delete that row so that the next row I go to is actually strawberry and bone. I still have my original headers identified, and my table will still work the same. So when I go through my table, the headers are always going to be foods dogs can eat and foods dogs can't eat. All right, so I'm making it through my table, checking that all of the rows are correctly identifying all of the tags and everything is tagged, and it is. Great. I have checked my table, I have labeled my headers, and everything is as it should be. I'm going to save my document, and now let's see how a screen reader would read it.
Table with 2 columns and 22 rows. Foods dogs can eat. Foods dogs can eat. Pumpkin, bacon, apple, corn, banana, chocolate, pear, milk, pineapple, bread, watermelon, avocado. Foods dogs can eat. Foods dogs can eat. Strawberry, bone, tomatoes, alcohol, honey, pomegranate, peaches, mint, kiwi, grapes, green peas, garlic, shrimp, onion, fish, grapefruit, coconut, caffeine, carrot, ice cream, broccoli, mushroom, yogurt, sugar, bell pepper, salty foods, cheese, nuts, table end.
And that's how to structure and make your table tags accessible. Find more videos on our YouTube channel at CDLE_DLSS.